The Indianapolis Colts were in dire straits this offseason. A snooze fest of a QB battle, a coach and GM hanging onto their jobs by a thread under new ownership, and dwindling hope in a division that has devolved into a one-horse race. But they've flown out to a 5-1 start, with one of the league's most efficient and entertaining offenses led by this year's great quarterback reclamation story. But that's not all. You want to know the scary truth about these 2025 Colts? They haven't even had to play their best football yet. That's not to say that the Colts haven't played well. Hell, they wouldn't be sitting atop the AFC if that were the case. But a third of the way into the season, the quality of their opponents has led plenty in the media to question just how good the 2025 Colts actually are. Their 5 wins have come against teams that are a combined 6-14. But in a season as wild as this one, it's still tough to determine who the legitimate contenders are. Perhaps there is still some residual prejudice stemming from the preseason projections for these Colts. After all, saying that head coach Shane Steichen and GM Chris Ballard were on the hot seat would have been the understatement of the century. An 8-9 record that saw them narrowly miss the playoffs in 2024, on the surface, doesn't sound like cause for canning both men. Rather, it was the quality of the on-field product that saw both of them come under fire. Even with a 1,400-yard rusher in Jonathan Taylor, and all-pros on both sides of the ball in Quentin Nelson and Zaire Franklin, it was their second-year quarterback, Anthony Richardson, who stole all of the headlines, and not for the right reasons. Before he was ruled out for the remainder of the season after Week 16, AR was playing at a historically bad level, completing less than half of his pass attempts for an 8-12 touchdown-to-interception ratio. This return was especially damning for Steichen and Ballard, who had hung their hats on Richardson's success by picking him 4th overall in the 2023 draft. As a matter of fact, it was damn near the first thing Shane Steichen did as head coach after being hired. Now, we won't go too deep into why Anthony Richardson flopped, that's a topic for another video. But the key thing to remember is that the QB's success was inextricably tied to the public perception of the head coach-GM duo in Indianapolis. So it's safe to say that after another season ended in disappointment for Richardson, things were looking tense in Indy. Those tensions were compounded by a humiliating Week 17 loss to the hopeless, Drew Lock-led New York Giants, which ruled the Colts out of playoff contention in an exceptionally weak AFC South. So, with the combination of Richardson's woeful play and the rest of the team coming up comically short in the playoff hunt, there was no question that Shane Steichen's seat was heating up. Even the Colts executives were saying as much. After the passing of legendary owner Jim Irsay, his daughter, Carly, took over as co-owner and CEO, and didn't mince words in her introductory press conference.
You know, as my dad said before he passed, Chris and Shane know that they have things they need to fix. And, we talked about not micromanaging people, but also we have a standard here and it hasn't been good enough.
So, how the hell have Steichen and Ballard saved their jobs? Well, they finally accepted that they may have overestimated Anthony Richardson's readiness to be an NFL starter, opting instead to hold an open QB competition in the 2025 offseason. The sheer fact that they were on the hunt for a new starter speaks volumes about what Richardson had to offer, and when Daniel Jones was the best competition the front office could recruit, it inspired a little optimism amongst the fan base.
Talking to him, and the key thing that people keep overlooking, it was a actual open competition.
Yes.
Think about that wording.
And he opted to leave. He opted to leave Minnesota because he thought he had a realistic chance because he was told it was an open competition in Indiana.
He was told it was an open competition. He was told, which indicates that there were times people come to teams and it's not an open competition.
Very much so.
They don't have a chance no matter how well they play.
I would say the vast majority, Steve, of quarterback competitions have a clear front runner when they start in the NFL.
How do you have a clear front runner and
in a competition?
When the Colts named Jones the starter over Richardson, it appeared to be an even more damning indictment of the club's top 5 pick from just 2 years prior. To put it plainly, they chose a guy who was released after throwing 10 interceptions to 13 picks over the past 2 seasons and was only a year and a half out from having torn his ACL over Anthony Richardson. At the time, it was a move that screamed desperation. But with hindsight, this was an integral part of an offseason of change in Indy. One of the most important injections of life into this team was the selection of Tyler Warren in the first round of the 2025 NFL Draft. As legendary tight end Greg Olsen explains, it was a match made in heaven between Warren and the Colts.
My gut says this fits a little bit more with what Indianapolis wants to be with Jonathan Taylor, and try to figure out still what they want to be at quarterback now with Daniel Jones and obviously Richardson. So they're still trying to figure out there. Steichen wants to be under center, play action, play pass stuff. So I think he's a little bit of a better fit for what in their minds Indianapolis wants to be.
That's great and all, but how much can a rookie tight end really change things for an offense? It turns out, quite a bit. From Warren's first taste of NFL action against the Dolphins, he showed out, with 3 catches for 43 yards on the Colts' opening drive, and finished the day leading all rookies in receiving yards and a tidy 33-8 win. His QB, Daniel Jones, looked like a man reborn, remarkably comfortable in Steichen's team with 3 total touchdowns on the day, as he conducted an offense that scored points on every single possession. What's more, they broke an 11-game opening day winless streak dating back to Andrew Luck's sophomore season. But nobody took the Dolphins too seriously coming into 2025. Indy's first real test would come against Denver in Week 2, where, once again, they came to play. Daniel Jones, who again was a turnover machine in New York, gave one of the league's most fearsome defenses nothing to work with, as these Colts once again went the entire game without punting and even came up with the win in the clutch. Sure, they got a little bit lucky with a penalty on the game-winning field goal, but the Colts had now beaten a proven AFC playoff team. They kept on rolling in Week 3, demolishing the Titans before stumbling against the Rams. Jones threw 2 picks on the day, but the individual who was singled out for the majority of the blame was second-year wideout Adonai Mitchell. AD celebrated too soon and fumbled the ball at the goal line before holding a Rams defender on a Jonathan Taylor touchdown run that was subsequently called back. Individual mistakes had slowed down this offense, which came up short against one of the NFC's finest. But Indy's momentum didn't take a hit. The loss wasn't terribly devastating, because unlike the 2024 Colts, this team fought tooth and nail, losing by just a single score to the Rams. They have remained undefeated ever since, triumphing over the Raiders and Kyler Murray-less Cardinals. Now, sitting at 5-1 after 6 games, with Daniel Jones in the MVP race, Jonathan Taylor a serious Offensive Player of the Year candidate, and Tyler Warren in contention to become the first tight end ever named Offensive Rookie of the Year, Shane Steichen's unit is flying high. Even Drew Brees was gushing about the Colts offense, offering up a very complimentary comparison.
They're really good, and this isn't to pat ourselves on the back, but they look like the Saints offense from years ago. Everything that they're doing, inside zone, outside zone, gap scheme runs. I love what they're doing in the run game. That's setting up some shots in the pass game. But more importantly, in the pass game, when I turn on the tape and watch the All-22, I see this methodical pass game that is an extension of the run game. That is like a hallmark of the West Coast offense. How can we make the pass game an extension of the run game? Quarterback on his back, like on his first step or on his third step, the ball is out. He knows exactly where the ball is going based on coverage. They're running these little short option routes with downs better than anybody in the league. They're finding ways to get those completions and get the ball in space to their playmakers. And then it's setting up some of the more intermediate and down the field passing game as well. They got their tight end play is outstanding. So they're attacking the middle of the field as well. So, I mean, all the way around, like I turn on the tape and watch this offense, and they are complete. They are complete in every facet of what they're doing, and the results speak for themselves.
Yeah.
Others haven't been quite so impressed, especially with their narrow win over the Jacoby Brissett-led Cardinals.
Before we get all excited about the Colts, and I mean, look, they've done a nice job so far. But let's not forget, let's not forget, the backup quarterback threw for over 300 yards, was on the 10-yard line at the end of the game, taking shots to go win the game on a team that last week lost at home to the Tennessee Titans, okay? So that's who they beat today. So yeah, we give them credit for the win. They did just enough. But again, it's not been as pretty as that record would indicate.
After all, maybe we should pump the brakes on the talk of Super Bowls and NFL honors.
I don't think so. This is a 5-1 football team right now that still has a lot to prove to me. You don't win Super Bowls in week 6. Daniel Jones has a lot to prove to me that he can be a quarterback like a Baker Mayfield, like a Josh Allen, like a Patrick Mahomes. There's a different quality of win than the Colts had yesterday and the Kansas City Chiefs.
Instead of respecting the fact that the Colts were able to grind out a win in a surprisingly tough game, which they had to play without star cornerback Charvarius Ward, who picked up a concussion in warm-ups, the only takeaway seemed to be Indianapolis' slim margin of victory. The Cardinals could have easily tripped up Indy, but the Colts' ability to stay the course and see out the win is a testament to the growth of this staff and, most importantly, these players. From fumbling the bag against Drew Lock last season to coming up clutch on multiple occasions, there is clearly a new mentality in this locker room. Skeptics are fixating on the quality of their wins, but there have been so many upsets in the early portion of this season that it's still difficult to tell which of their opponents are actually good. Instead, these Colts deserve more recognition for doing what they can, which is beating everyone in front of them. Because the scary truth is, they're showing no signs of stopping. By the looks of it, Indy is going to win a lot of games, and at 5-1, they're already most of the way to a playoff spot. But notorious Chiefs fan Nick Wright made a troublingly accurate comparison for the 2025 Colts.
The Colts, I had the wrong team that they won, because I was saying that they were going to be last year's Saints. 2-0, huge victories, and then fall off a map. I was wrong. And then I realized today which team they are.
Oh.
Do you know which team they are?
I just want to hear.
I think you'll like this. I think they have a real chance to be last year's Vikings. Gaudy regular season record, a reclamation project at quarterback. No matter what they do throughout the regular season, people don't fully buy in entirely. Yep. And then, of course, obviously, we know what will happen in the playoffs.
On the surface, that's worrying. Nobody wants to see Danny Dimes' comeback story end with playoff embarrassment. However, Indiana Jones is one of the biggest reasons why these Colts won't suffer the same fate as the 2024 Vikings. For one, under Kevin O'Connell, Minnesota has never won a playoff game, going 0-2. One of those losses came to Jones and his 6th-seeded Giants in the 2022 wildcard round, demonstrating that KOC's teams are fundamentally playoff chokers, while Daniel Jones is never daunted by the occasion. Furthermore, head coach Shane Steichen and new defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo have extensive playoff experience as well, having participated in long postseason campaigns with their previous employers in Philadelphia and Cincinnati respectively. The bottom line is, not only is momentum on the Colts side, but so is playoff history. That's a scary combination for the AFC, which has seen a dramatic reshuffling in 2025 with no end in sight. If Indy continues to rise above the chaos and thrive in the eye of the storm, who knows just how far this team can go when the postseason finally arrives. But what do you think? Are people underestimating or overhyping the 2025 Colts? Let us know in the comments.